7 years ago, Nike made a very bold move. They killed off the Nike T90 series with the final model being the T90 Laser 4, something that a lot of people, including myself, were extremely unhappy about. But you have to hand it to them. They recognized very early on that power boots as a concept was more or less a dying trend. Even the Predator series was losing popularity, and eventually Adidas would kill it off in 2015, but Nike beat them to it. What they would replace the T90 line with was something that I don't think anybody was expecting in a football boot that I think goes down in history as one of the greatest Nike football boots ever made, the Hypervenom Phantom 1, which you'll definitely recognize in orange and black, which of course was the launch color for this boot. But the pair that I'm holding here is particularly special in that this is a pre-production sample where the upper is more or less the same as what Nike would end up releasing. It does not have the skull and crossbones on the heel, but you'll notice on the sole plate, it's missing a stud there, and it's of course missing a second stud at the heel. This was originally what they planned on doing, but obviously didn't make it to final production. With the actual release version looking more like this, of course featuring the skull and crossbones there on the inside of the heel, only for the initial colors, and of course the stud pattern that you all recognize. And yes, I do realize these are extremely dirty, and I haven't cleaned them since 2013. Shame on me, get off my back. With that history lesson out of the way, if there is one Nike football boot that people have been screaming for to get a remake, it is the OG Nike Hypervenom Phantom 1. And finally, in early 2020, Nike has given us that in the form of a Nike Phantom Vision 2 Elite wearing a Halloween costume. It's funny because that is a joke, but also not really. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Nike Hypervenom Phantom Vision 2 Elite, also known as the Future DNA Pack colorway, which is effectively just a regular Phantom Vision 2 dressed up to look as much like an OG Hypervenom Phantom 1 as possible, which is goofy as a concept. It's kind of a little bit goofy looking in a lot of ways, but I also have to admit that Nike did about as good a job as they could possibly do given what they were working with. Of course, all bearing a retail price of the normal $275. Is it the remake that we were all hoping for? Definitely not, but is it really cool as a concept? I guess everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but for me, I really like what Nike have done here, and I want to go through all of the little details, the trouble that they went through to make a football boot that looks nothing like the OG Hypervenom look quite a bit like an OG Hypervenom. So if you want to learn more about these, including how they fit, feel, and look on feet, please stick around, watch the entire review, and if you are interested in some of these for yourself, you can get them below their normal retail price by clicking the little pop-up in the corner of the screen or the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes to pick these up below their normal retail price. And for those that will ask, as far as I'm aware, this colorway will only be available as a top-end Elite boot and not available as a takedown. As far as extras go, Nike hasn't really done anything special for these boots. It comes in the regular gray and black Nike box that you get with any top-end model, and surprisingly, even the label doesn't have an SE thrown in there for special edition. It simply says Phantom Vision 2 Elite. But where I really think they missed the boat is with the string bag, because as you can see, it's in, of course, the orange and black of the OG Hypervenom, even the little bit of silver that was only found on the ACC logo. I will admit that's a nice touch. It would have been really cool to see some form of a remake of that OG Hypervenom string bag, which of course they have not done. Just an orange bag with a black triangle and a silver swoosh, nothing on the back. It's a decent string bag. It gets a rating of 2 Phantoms out of 5 Hypervenoms. Yeah, we'll go with that. And for those wondering, here's what the OG string bag looked like. As for the colorway itself, before people start complaining, because I know that there are a lot of people that don't think that these look cool at all. In fact, I've heard a lot of people comment that it does kind of look like the Hypervenom Felon takedown model because of the way the texturing is, which I do to a certain extent agree with. But consider this. They took a Phantom Vision 2 and a Hypervenom. These two boots don't look at all the same whatsoever, but they somehow managed these two boots to end up looking pretty similar, if you ask me. So from that regard, they did a pretty good job. Why they didn't just use a Hypervenom, a Phantom Venom Elite rather than a Phantom Vision, because the Phantom Venom I think looks a lot more like a Hypervenom as it is. I don't really have the answer to that question for you, but all things considered, I think that they did a pretty good job of making the Phantom Vision look as much like an OG Hypervenom as possible. The colors, obviously orange and black, pretty straightforward. They did a good job there. The repositioning of the Nike swoosh here on the toe looks really good. They even have it on the heel and included a little bit of extra texturing to kind of mimic the Nike skin that you have on the regular Hyper Venom Phantom 1, which I think is a nice little touch. The one detail I would have liked to have seen is the inclusion of this Nike Skin logo right there, right at the corner where the orange and black meets. They did not include that on this boot. Obviously, because it isn't Nike Skin, still would have been really cool. They do have the skull and crossbones here on the heel, which again, I have an original pair. Please don't get mad at me because I realize that these are really dirty, but here is the OG one and what the skull and crossbones would have looked like. It's not exactly the same. It's a little bit bigger on the newer one, but again, it's kind of just scaled up for what is kind of a chunkier boot in the Phantom Vision. Either way, they did a good job. Another really cool detail is the way they did the black in the lacing system. Obviously, this does have regular laces and a tongue, where this has a lace cover, but they added this little extension bit in black to kind of give it the off-centered laces look, at least from the side profile, because obviously across the top, they do look very different. And then you do have the ACC logo on the regular pair in silver. They didn't put an ACC logo on the outside of this boot, but instead they did the Ghost Laces logo in that same silver, which again is a nice little touch. Another detail that I was kind of worried about was the black trim on the edge of the sole plate to match the black trim that you have in the pattern of the upper for the Hyper Venom design. It really ties the sole plate and the upper together, and then of course the bottom is left in straight orange. They actually went through the trouble of doing the exact same detail on the remake, so it all blends in really, really nicely. You almost can't see the transition from sole plate to upper, which is really nice. And then of course the bottom is in orange. This is a non-wearable finish, by the way, just orange colored plastic. And then the final detail would be the insole, which I have the OG one right here. You can see it says Hyper Venom in orange with a black insole. The other one just has a Nike swoosh, so they are different from left to right. They did not go through the trouble though of putting the Hyper Venom logo on the insole. Instead, it's just a regular Phantom Vision insole with the logo and of course Nike grip branding in orange with a black liner to match the OG. And it's just the regular Phantom Vision insole nonetheless. Would have been cool to have some kind of a Hyper Venom logo on this remake, but they obviously opted against that. As for the performance, this might be a little bit controversial to say, but I think that objectively, the better performing football boot is the newer Phantom Vision 2. That is not what made the original Hyper Venom Phantom 1 so special. When you're talking about objective performance, this boot had too much stretch to the upper, it lacked structure, it was a little bit sloppy in terms of overall responsiveness and durability with the earlier colorways because of how soft and flexible this mesh-based Nike Skin synthetic was. They just didn't last very long, but once broken in, the feel of this upper is unlike anything else we've ever had since, which is why so many people hold this in such high regard as their all-time favorite football boot. The touch and experience and comfort from this Nike Skin upper is truly fantastic. And I think where this does somewhat relate to the newer Phantom Vision 2 Elite, which I don't really think are two boots that are in the same lineage at all. You can't really connect them through Nike's lines. Again, I think the Phantom Venom is more a continuation of what was at one point the Hyper Venom series because it did replace the Hyper Venom Phantom 3. Either way, what I think is great about the Phantom Vision 2 Elite, which is not that different from the original Phantom Vision, is that like the original Hyper Venom, the upper is soft, it's flexible, it doesn't really have any hard structure to it, but also maintains really good lockdown and responsiveness, which was kind of the main downfall of the OG Hyper Venom. So in that regard, I do think that these two boots are similar. And while I don't think that the Phantom Vision at this point in time is the most exciting football boot on the market, if you were asking me to pick out of Nike's 4 top lines right now, my personal favorite is actually the Phantom Vision 2 Elite. And the fact that I can now play in Visions that look like the OG Hyper Venom Phantom 1 is both hilarious and pretty cool at the exact same time. And as many people as I know don't like the look of this boot because it is kind of like Nike knocking off their own product, I will admit that I think that the graphics on this version or this particular colorway of the Phantom Vision actually looks a lot better than the regular one, but maybe I'm weird. Well, I'm sure most of you watching already know this. I still see quite a few comments on the internet suggesting that the Phantom Vision, both 1 and 2, are laceless football boots, when very clearly that is not the case. They just have a lace cover. The lacing system is actually crucial to the lockdown and fit of the boot because of the way the internal quad fit system works. And if you were looking to replace the laces, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing, I heard sr4ulaces.com with free worldwide shipping on any order of $16.99 or more is a great place to check out. As far as putting these on is concerned, loosen the laces at the top, the little part that you have access to, and then I like to use the little pull tab that they give you at the front of this kind of mini collar, and then my thumb here on the side, slide my foot in sideways like that, and then kind of just spin around, use my back fingers almost as a shoehorn so I'm not crushing the internal heel counter, and then just kind of slide my foot in from there, adjust the collar around the edges, pull on this little tab right here to adjust the inside quad fit system, pull on this, and then you always have to leave the two lace ends on the outside, pull them tight, and then from there you can kind of fold down this front part of the lace cover, tie them up, and you're pretty much good to go. If I could actually tie my shoes. On feet, because of the graphics, they look a lot like OG Hypervenoms. In fact, from a distance, you would really not be able to tell whether or not they were Phantom Visions or OG Hypervenoms, which I think as a concept is really, really cool. Obviously up close, if you know your boots, it's fairly obvious what these are. But again, I like the fact that it's dressed up like an OG Hypervenom. As far as fit and comfort is concerned, I think the Phantom Vision 2, in terms of out-of-the-box comfort, is the best on offer from the Nike brand right now if you don't want something with a leather upper, because I think you can make an argument that maybe the Tiempo is the most comfortable, but in terms of being relatively thin and also just very sock-like in terms of how it moves with your foot, there's no structure to the upper because of this internal quad fit system. It's just a really, really impressive pair of football boots in terms of how they wrap your feet all the way through. As far as width is concerned, they have some decent width to them, although the Vision 2 has been kind of snugged up ever so slightly from the original Vision. Not to the point where I think that these won't fit people with wide feet, but if you did have really, really wide feet, then maybe these won't be the best option, but otherwise, I think that they'll fit most people quite comfortably. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order some for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you are interested in the Nike Hypervenom Phantom Vision 2 Elite for yourself, you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes to pick these up below their normal $275 retail price. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comment section and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.